Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules.
This is Geek News Radio, broadcast 59. For Saturday, April 14th, 2018. The Slugs are coming.
This is Geek News Radio, episode 59. I'm Fab in Hamburg.
I'm Dave in Birmingham.
Oh god, that's... Dave! Yes, we have to explain to people what we're doing here.
Because I feel like we've already done 59, Fab.
We already did 59, yes.
Yeah.
So, just that everybody knows, we had recorded, us two and Mike, I thought a great episode, 59.
It was great fun. It was really good.
Which was just very silly. Some April Fool's kind of stuff. And I lost it. And by
So
lost...
did you just record over it?
No, I deleted the file. So so the thing is, I'm running out of SD cards. They break, and I'm like too slack to buy. It's not the price. It's just I can't be bothered buying those. So when we recorded, the other thing is we already have recorded episode 60. When we recorded that, I needed to make space on the SD card. So I put it in a folder, and I think my brain must have just turned off when I moved the file and then I named it something. And I named it the wrong thing. I named it an old episode number. But I didn't realize in the moment. I wasn't even drunk. Like, it was just being stupid. I don't know, tired or something. I don't know. And then about a week later, I deleted that file because I thought, just actually before I went to do the show notes, I did some house cleaning, deleted some old files, and deleted that. And so I deleted it after I named it wrong, like a day later. And then a week later, when I tried to release the show, I couldn't recover the file because it's a WAV file that's quite big, and it was like in the space where like all other WAV files are, and it just the hard drive was too full. Yep, I tried to recover it. I tried for like half a day with several different tools, and it wasn't happening. This is kind of sad because basically what we did is we took a joke I took from the Discord at some point, some months back. I think Nicholas or somebody else came up with this, and we recorded a Greek news radio where all three of us just pretended to be in Greece.
Yes.
And I was slacking off the Germans.
Yeah, and I was making fun of Sabaton being our favourite band by making Firewind our favourite band, and I joined them as a roadie. I don't know, I felt like I waffled for a long time, so maybe it was a good thing that no one had to listen to my terrible improv.
I thought it was good.
It was alright. I kind of like halfway through I was like, holy crap, this is a really long-winded joke. But it was a fun episode. We aimed to make it about 20 minutes, but in the end it was about an hour. Maybe we've saved you from an hour-long joke.
We did talk
when you've inevitably forgotten about it.
Yeah, maybe we did talk about some news, like just all Greek news. Some nice story about like a football coach running on the pitch, like in Greece with a gun.
Yeah, that's true. There were actual news things.
It wasn't that bad. I felt really bad when I figured out that I deleted that episode. Well, anyway, so basically we're recording this to slot it in because we had already recorded episode 60, which you can look forward to, which is also a great episode, which I didn't delete, as far as I know. If I also deleted that, I'm probably gonna just stop podcasting because I can't bear it anymore. So that had Char on it, so you can look forward to that. But the thing is, we already had said on the show that was episode 60, so it's kind of...
Yeah, we kind of mentioned it quite a bit. So yeah.
I can't kind of fix that in post, and it's weird. Like, I could have released it as 59, but it would have driven people mad. At least it would have driven me mad.
And I'm so torn. I'm so torn with podcasts when they like lose episodes and they skip numbers.
No, I can't do that.
Or release them out of order, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's like a cool artistic thing, but equally I'm like, no, the RSS feed must be in order.
Yeah, I can't, like, Dave was like, I named this, the running order episode 59B, and Dave was like, just before the show, you were like, we should name it that, and I'm like, I can't! I'm just gonna drive me mad every time I look at the feed.
Yeah, it'll be all wrong. I'm looking at the show notes right now, and we've forgotten the leading 0 from 59, so I have to edit.
No, I haven't forgotten that. I always do that.
Yeah, I always come in and add the 0.
Yeah.
So it sorts properly when we get to 100.
It's like our little infighting thing.
It's like a cross-check. It's like, Fab does the episode number, I then read the episode number, and then add the 0.
Cross-check. That's nice. I like that. That's good. Yeah, so we thought. I thought if we're gonna slot an episode in, we can just like we're not gonna talk about feedback because obviously we haven't gotten any. And also, like, I didn't want to talk about anything like really newsy. So we talked about stuff in 60, and I don't want to preempt that. Like, basically, I would want to have a vanilla episode that I can just slide in.
Something not super kind of time-based. So we kind of picked like
an evergreen topic, but it's kind of news as well.
Yeah, kind of news, but something that's like it kind of going to be like an interesting thing that's going to happen over the next coming years. It'll be like the Bitcoin episode of Linux Outlaws, but less good.
Oh, you mean where we got massive shit from everybody? That's the one that started the fight with the Linux Action Show, actually. Because there was some, like, I made like a minor mistake talking about some like U.S. financial institution.
Oh God!
They were all going mad on that, and I was like really pissed off.
SOC 2 certification wrong, and
yeah, because I spent a lot of time like preparing that, and I thought it was a really good episode. Everybody else thought so too. That was like our most downloaded episode for a long time. Anyway, yeah. So
and like just like 20 minutes before the show started, I was like scrolling through Twitter and an advert for like a fucking startup that wants to do news and journalism but with the blockchain, and I just got angry.
That sounds amazing. What are they called? I might join them.
It sounds terrible. It's just like some guy being like, the blockchain is revolutionary.
Where they're from?
I have no. He sounded American, so presumably like San Fran.
I've written like a lot of articles on the blockchain. They need to hire me, I think.
They need to store it in the blockchain. Just start like spending money to put your articles as the arbitrary text message that you can put in.
I'd love my articles to be in a blockchain. I think that's cool.
So did you see the thing about the thing?
The thing about the thing? No.
The thing about arbitrary text and people, there was like this.
Where they could child porn in.
Yeah, basically they can put dodgy stuff in. See, in Bitcoin transactions, there is like a text field, essentially, where you can put arbitrary text, and in that you can put links to dodgy things, and then also you can sort of like convert to hex and then put it in, and then can be unconverted out in, like, just put a file in basically, and so people can put in dodgy links that would be illegal in your country. So if you have a copy of the blockchain stored, so i.e. someone who uses the blockchain, then you would be like storing illegal content.
Yeah, this is actually quite old. Well, not the illegal content, but a few years ago somebody put a virus in it.
Wow.
And so the lots of AV software just like basically blacklisted, binned the blockchain files.
Nice. And then I was reading some conspiracy theories about like how governments are the ones putting it in there so that they can outlaw Bitcoin. And it's like, whoa, too deep.
Well, I think even the German government is gone. Like we had an article about this, and I can't remember what the gist was, but it was basically, well, it's not your fucking fault if it's in there. So, you know.
Fair. Yeah, but I just thought that was crazy. Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Well, the thing is,
I can have a random text field on a thing in the internet that people can put things in. Nothing good happens in that. Nothing good. Like, they've seen Twitter. We give people lots of text fields. Nothing good comes out of that.
Well, That's true. Well, I don't know if they, I don't know if they even cared about that, like whoever Satoshi was. But like this is something like this is where I actually like the German legal system. Like sometimes when you read stuff about the US, and like it seems like, oh, there's precedent, well then this means this. And in Germany, a judge would, if that ever came to court, they would definitely just look at the facts and go, well, you didn't put that in there. Everybody's got that on their computer now, so no, I'm not gonna prosecute this.
I think like the British one's a bit similar in that there's not really like, there's a lot more kind of leeway for like the judge, because we don't really have like, we have a lot of bullshit laws that get ignored. So there's a lot. I feel like
we have that too in Germany.
It's like, yes, and on the third day of the month, if you're standing on the clock tower of a church, you can shoot a Welshman with a longbow. It's just like, for fuck's sake.
Although sometimes there's weird stuff. I just saw like something about like that some guy who in Scotland, a YouTuber got convicted for like he trained his pug to like do the Hitler salute.
Yes.
When he said something horrible about gassing Jews, I think.
Yeah, and
well, that
was a problem.
Well,
like, come on.
I mean, that's shitty humor, right? But like, it's obviously humor, and like I think the judge in the case said something like, "Well, in context doesn't matter," you know.
That's kind of weird. Cause like,
what?
Surely that would be like in Germany. If that happened in Germany, like they'd take it very seriously and it would be illegal.
Well,
but in the UK, like people make really off-color jokes about the war all the time.
Funny thing about that.
So surely they should put everyone's dad in.
Yeah. I mean, I think I watched like a Jonathan Pye video. I love that dude. And he was like, well, they should put Tom Minchin in jail or something.
It doesn't really follow for like, well, if that joke is over the line, then a lot of other jokes would be over the line.
Tim
as well.
Minchin, I'm sorry, did I just call him Tom?
I knew who you meant. I wasn't going to call you out on it.
I was like, this is wrong. I just Googled this. Well, one thing I need to say about this, by the way, is in Germany, yes, that would be illegal, but then there are provisions for satire. So, for example, we had this famous thing with Jan Böhmermann when Erdogan sued him because in Germany it's illegal. We still have like an old law. It's called Majestätsbeleidigungs. It says it's illegal to insult like it's like your majesties. Like even though we don't have any royalty anymore, it still gets applied to like foreign heads of state.
Okay.
And basically,
so
I think
I'm sure lots of people have gone to prison for making fun of Trump in the news. Then, right?
Well, basically, I think this didn't even get like in front of a judge.
Okay.
Because basically the prosecution was saying, well, this is obviously satire, so it's allowed under satire, and there's like even allowed, like you can, for example, if you make a video with like somebody in a Nazi uniform, like you're only allowed to do that if it's art, and if it's satire, you're allowed to do that. Like if you're making fun of Hitler, yes, you know, and a pug.
Are you allowed to make a documentary?
Yeah, that's the other. Like, there's several exemptions. Like, there's one for art. There's one for like documentaries, like teachers, like whatever teachers do in schools and whatever stuff like that. And then there's satire shit like that. But that's so amazing. Like the Jonathan Pye video is great because he's like, what the fuck? Of course, context is important. Like he's like, how can you have humor without context? I mean, you can't even tell if something's a joke without context. The fuck?
It's all fucked.
It's all. We're all fucked.
We've missed the most important part of the podcast. What are you drinking?
This is really boring. I'm drinking water.
Oh my god, Fab. Jesus Christ. I have an Australian Pinot Grigio because it's a Wednesday.
Pinot Grigio, that's Weißburgunder. No, Grauer Burgunder.
Yes. I assume that means green.
No, grey. Grau is like...
What? Grey wine? Jesus.
Well, it's not Pinot Grigio.
Yeah,
it's grey,
like
isn't
white,
it?
but you like making it green. Let's like white. We call it. Do you call it grey or we call it white?
There's also Weißburgunder. There's white and there is grey. So I think Pinot Grigio is the Pinot Gris. Yeah, Grigio means grey. So
I always
Pinot
assumed
Pinot Grigio or Grauburgunder is a white
you're blowing my
white
mind.
wine grape, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And there's also Weißburgunder. So now I have to look. I have to look up what that. Oh, there's something about Lady Gaga in there. What? Why?
I have no idea.
Well, Pinot Noir is what's Pinot Noir? That's
black,
just
right?
Burgundy, I think. Blauburgunder in German, so it's called blue in Germany. What's Weißburgunder? Little wine. Oh God, I want to drink wine now.
Yes.
Okay, Weißburgunder is called Pinot Bianco.
Okay.
Do we have an anecdote?
An anecdote.
Well, this is a very special show, so I might just not pause the show. I might just go and get a glass of wine.
Oh yeah.
So you have to entertain people for a bit. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, so yeah, I can do this. So out of context, well, so you have the context of us doing this out of order, and in the sort of meantime, we've bought a house and we've moved in, kind of, in the sense that we've got a camping table and 2 chairs, and we've put up lots of curtains. And it's really fucking knackering. Everyone says you should, like, get on the property ladder. It's great. It's going to be fun. And they're like, where did all my time go? Now in my evenings, I've not been playing games. Not that I play games anyway. I'm mostly drunk treated. But in my evenings, I've been looking at light fittings and people to do the garden, because we need like a digger in to.
What the? Oh, you're talking about your house, are you?
I am just an old man. This is it. I'm middle aged.
I knew this was gonna happen.
Because it's just like Ellie's like, oh, so what do you want to do here? And I'm like, well, I'm immediately like, I have no opinion. Like, I'd live in a plain white box. But then secretly it turns out I have loads of opinions about things. Because it's like light fittings. We're like, oh, I don't really give a shit about light fittings. As long as I don't walk into them, it'll be alright. Because currently all the light things are exactly Dave's face height, and I walk into fucking every one of them. So I was like, yeah, whatever. And then we like start looking through light things. It's just like, oh, this looks really, really cool. And I'm like, no, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And it turns out I'm really opinionated about light fittings.
You're turning into me. This is why you're so grumpy all the time on Twitter now.
Yeah, because it's just like, fucking, I've got to talk to people. I had to talk to electricians and locksmiths.
Which is funny. This is why I would never buy a house. Like, I swore to myself.
I had a locksmith over yesterday, and he got out of the car, and I went, fuck me, it's Joe Ressington.
That's...
and then he got a bit close, and I was like, oh, he's not as tall as Joe.
I love Joe, right? But he as a locksmith, he wouldn't inspire confidence. He looks like somebody who's going to break in afterwards.
I was like, I don't know, because like I'm completely kind of like used, like, so that's the kind of feeling, because like at home, like,
have you seen the Poirot episode where he disguises himself as a locksmith?
No.
So there's an episode where I'm watching Poirot, as you know. Well, there's an episode where he needs to break into somebody's house. And it's like the whole episode's like, oh, what would happen if Poirot went to the dark side and would fight the police? This would be funny. And then he like disguises himself. He puts on a beret, rides a bicycle, and doesn't do his mustache, so it just droops down. And then he pretends to be. You think he's French, but then the lady says like, "Why don't you work in France?" And he's like, "Because I'm not French. Where are you from then? What is the country that is surrounded by mountains and divided into cantons?" And then she's like, "You're not from China." "No, I'm from Switzerland, where they make the locks." And then later, obviously, he breaks into the house because techno locks out.
That sounds great. But no, like back in Wales, like the local like locksmith was like a terrifying dude. He was like the kind of person you don't mess with them because they're a locksmith. They can break into your house in like 4 seconds. So yeah, I'm kind of like used to that kind of vibe from locksmiths. Like, be friendly to your local locksmith because they know the ways.
They have the keys.
Dismantle. Yeah, they can break your locks. They can. Oh god, yeah, they have the pick guns. Oh god, yeah, it's terrifying things. They know they got black magic, but Fab, the real black magic is Apple.
Apple?
Yeah.
You're away from the house tangent. Sorry.
I'm smoothly transitioning into relatable content.
Well, first off, I have red magic now. I have now a really nice red wine.
Yes.
So thanks for keeping everybody entertained.
I hope they enjoy House Chat. It's going to be a regular feature.
Oh, this is going to be great. I love this. This is like Dave's turning into me via having bought a house. Yeah. Anyway, so
it's great, but hell.
As you said, the topic we want to talk about is something. This just came together in my head. We were thinking about what we were going to talk about, and I read like two things. You were talking about Apple doing their own chips, and then I read like this analysis by some guy. It's on a website called Stratechery. His name's Ben Thompson.
It's like if you merge tech and strategy.
Yeah. I've actually
I've no idea.
I've been there before. He's like an analyst. He writes like good stuff, and well, he talks about how Windows is dead. But maybe we should start with Apple. So
that's like the kind of the newsy thing in that like it's kind of been known for a while that Apple make their own chips because there's the A9 processor or whatever that's in like iPads and iPhones, and it's essentially an ARM processor. So they've licensed the ARM design, right? And then they manufacture it themselves because ARM don't make their own chips; they just design chips.
This is what drives me mad about the whole Silicon Valley like Engadget fucking coverage of this. Like, if you read all the I think you were talking about on Twitter that they were going to do their own chips, and I hadn't heard about it before, so I went digging. And I found out these articles where everybody's, I can't wait till Apple designs their own chips. And they already have their own, like, co-processor. They don't fucking design their own chips. They do what everybody else does, like Broadcom or whatever. You know, they license an ARM design. Yeah. And, well, basically, as far as I can tell, I'm not a specialist on this, but, you know, we have people at CT and I talk to them. Apparently, so you can either just get a design from ARM and just make it, have it made as it is, or you can screw around with it. I mean, that's what, for example, Qualcomm does with the Snapdragon. I think
so you can kind of like work with ARM and kind of modify it in ways. So ARM do the kind of core architecture of it, but you can customize it to your specific application. I wonder if this is actually what Google did with their, because Google in the Pixel 2 have their image coprocessor for all the photography stuff. I think that may be what they did there, because like, who else is going to design a processor?
Yeah, right. Because Intel So the only basically you can't design your
RISC-V open source fucking.
Yeah, well, you can't design your own processor because it's
monumentally complicated.
Yeah. So, and I think there is pretty much only ARM where you can go and like just license stuff.
Yeah. By other people.
I mean, the thing about this whole thing is that Apple can't design so the idea is that they would switch away from Intel and go, I presume, go completely ARM with their Macs as well.
I would assume so, yeah.
Because they can't design a processor to rival Intel's architecture. I mean, AMD can't do that. They're like the second biggest player, and they've been trying for like decades.
Like, Apple make a lot of money, but they don't have a time machine. Because like I don't see how they could. They could buy all the talent, right? They could buy all of the.
I don't think they could.
But they don't. They couldn't just take those people and say make the Intel processor again because like copyright exists. And
I mean, also I don't think they could do that because as far as I can tell, ARM can't do that. I mean,
but ARM have a lot of money, but I don't think they have Apple amounts of money. ARM got bought by a big sort of banking consortium. But
but even if you have Apple amount of money, you can't just like buy a team like that or at that level, right? You can buy key people.
And they just send them an email saying, "I've got $1 million. Do you want it for this year?"
And I mean that these are very specialized people. True. And the other thing, I mean, even if they could do that, the other thing they can't do is just build a fab. I mean, they could build a fab, but it's going to take them fucking ages. I mean, as far as I can tell, like there's designing the processor, and then you need to design the industrial process as well, and that's massively complicated as well.
Yes. So I think they're essentially going to take an ARM processor or work with ARM to make a special Apple processor and stick it in stuff. So it's going to be like when they transitioned from PowerPC to Intel.
The only difference being that PowerPC and Intel were comparable architectures. I don't think Intel and ARM are comparable. I mean,
no, yeah. I mean, there was still the incompatibility. Like stuff wouldn't run on the other, but I don't think it was like a monumental change.
I don't mean compatibility. I mean, those are both desktop processors, right? And ARMs are targeted at mobile.
ARM is quite different in that. Yeah, like things. It doesn't seem super trivial just to swap between the two. Like there are, like Linux on ARM is like significantly less supported than.
Well, like not even like the code compatibility, but what I mean is like I'm not saying that an ARM processor couldn't be a desktop processor, but historically they haven't been that. Historically, they have like there's a reason why everybody puts them in mobile devices, because they save power.
They're low power,
but they're not as powerful. And they've been now for like a decade or two been designed towards those devices. So I don't think it's trivial to just take one and make a desktop application for it.
There's like a reasonable push. More and more you're seeing sort of comparison articles, blog posts, white papers or whatever, of companies switching their server-side stuff to using ARM processors, basically the same workload, but just saving on electricity bills. And that's like a thing that they seem to be pushing, but like that workload's quite significantly different than that of a desktop processor.
Well, as far as I can understand it, it works if you have lots of jobs that don't need massive amounts of power, so you can kind of spread it out.
Yeah.
But if you need a lot of processing power, as far as I'm not, as I said, I'm not an expert on this, but from what I've been reading, ARM is then not very.
You don't. As far as I can tell, consumer grade ARM chips, you don't really, at least from what I've seen, you don't seem to get the kind of the raw clock speed of things you get with Intel processors.
Well, I think you could probably get around that by just making it a shitload of cores. But not
everything, not all algorithms translate well to multi-threading. Like you can't just throw processors at a problem to solve it. Whereas sometimes there are some things that will just be faster if you've got 4 gigahertz turbo boost thing.
But I think
I got 8 ARM cores running at 1 gigahertz.
But I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is you could, if you design the architecture, you could probably do it with ARM, but it's going to need just a lot more power. At those workloads, it's not very economical. You know what I mean? It's like I'm
kind of interested to see if they'll ever announce what their logic is for it, because to be honest, I'm kind of hazy on why they swapped to Intel, other than they were like, well, Intel's just making better things.
I think they're just the PowerPC hitter. I can probably talk about this. Once upon a time, I worked at a place in Bonn where it was I worked at the museum, but it was like an institute as well, and they were optimizing the PowerPC. This was like PlayStation 3 time frame, which also had a PowerPC chip, and they were I signed a lot of NDAs. I think PowerPC just had hit a wall at some point. They just couldn't keep up.
Do you feel? I don't feel like Intel have already hit that.
Well, Intel are just we talk about this a lot at CT. The hardware guys talk about this a lot. Everybody keeps rooting for AMD, and they've done, as far as I can tell, have done good stuff with Ryzen, for example.
Yeah.
But Intel's just the big game in town. Even if they're not,
they got a shitload of money, they got a shitload of factories, they got a load of people to design factories. They just got the whole thing down.
And they're just good.
Admittedly, they don't really have the QA, but who cares?
Well, I think they have the QA. It's also they have a lot more products, and I think they're also in a position where they can afford to they have so many architectures that they can afford for one not being that good. It's kind of like Nvidia. Nvidia is the same way. Like they mess up with engineering sometimes, but it's like they make it up in volume because the next generation is going to be out before anybody even cares. So
I'm super interested to see what the marketing message.
So I don't think they're gonna have a marketing message because they're Apple. I think this is just more an investor thing. So this all goes back to a story from Bloomberg. This is all like unsubstantiated. It's like random sources, whatever. But apparently, Apple is eyeing 2020, and they're also working on a is that a code like a thing called Marzipan, which is going to run just like the software that runs on this. So basically, they need to change macOS for this to work. Probably make it more like iOS. I don't think it's a marketing thing for them. I think it makes sense for Apple if you look at where they make their money. For years, they've been making their money on iPhones. Yes. And on iPads, and we've seen. I mean, all the geeks keep complaining that they're not really updating the PCs.
They sell like the MacBook Pro with like the 8 gig of RAM, or like, and he's like, but guys, come on, desktop PCs are pretty good.
And they killed the server. And I mean, Steve Jobs, when he was still alive, was always saying like, a desktop PC is a truck. We don't really need them anymore. So I think that what they want to pivot is like they want to pivot computers for normal users, and we're going to talk about this in a bit more, but for like everyday users who could probably, I mean, it's kind of the Chromebook idea. Google's been doing that as well. They'd probably be fine with ARM. They don't need that much processing power. The gamers aren't on macOS anyway, and I think they're just going to get rid of the power users. I think this is going to be really, really painful for the geeks that use macOS.
Yes. So this was the thing we had like a little quick chat on like Twitter about, but in that I was kind of like thinking, but man, so working in a company that, there's a lot of people in San Francisco offices, like everyone has a Mac. Like me with my like big Lenovo with its Ethernet port, I feel kind of like
proper machine.
A proper laptop, like a big 17-inch monster. I feel like kind of like I am the minority in that I'm a techie person writing applications on Windows. Or Linux, but I don't have a Mac. And like my first reaction to this was like, holy shit, they're going to piss off so many of like the San Francisco tech types, people who have Macs and they write JavaScript applications and they build websites, and then like they're just going to piss those people off because
no, not the website JavaScript. They're probably going to be fine on ARM.
Maybe, but like just all the tooling and stuff, because I was just remembering back in the day when I was a Mac fanboy, which I believe we talked about like on one of the early episodes, is that in the dark days of like 2008, I was like a Mac user. As power PCs were being sort of transitioned out, you couldn't buy them, but people still used them, and they were applications that like didn't get updated to work on Intel. Like they were kind of like not like shareware, but it was the type of
abandonware.
Abandonware, that's the one. Like abandonware that people were like, this is super useful and it's great, and then suddenly with like OS X whatever, PowerPC support got dropped, and like I can just see this happening again with them being like, all those Intel things, all those bits of code you wrote, now you better hope the people who developed them give a shit and rebuild them for ARM. They probably a lot of them will brew like the brew installed stuff. That'll get updated because people who use it probably will continue to. But like all the other little bits of tools,
I actually don't.
The kind of quality of life things people have to use, like the kind of the thing where it's like. People have written applications that when you close the lid of your Mac, it turns the Bluetooth off rather than just saying it's off. All those kind of little things that people who have Macs put up with because people write applications for. I feel there's just going to maybe be a load of dead applications and a very unhappy lot of people who... I don't know. So that's my kind of gut reaction was that Apple wouldn't do that. They'd have like a smooth transition with some sort of virtual machine. But then I think you're right. I think they'll be like, fuck it. Like, who even cares?
No, I think there's going to be both. I think, first of all, they're going to have a smooth transition. I don't think with the virtual machine. I think what they're looking at probably is something. I mean, Google's apparently been working on this Fuchsia or whatever it's called thing, right? So their own operating system that isn't Linux.
Building a kernel that's not Linux, yeah.
For Chromebooks and stuff. And apparently they're writing a thing which basically it's like a programming environment that you can write apps in that will then work on Android and on this new thing. And I think that's exactly what Apple's going to do. They're going to create tooling that you can transition your apps to. That
it's not just update Swift, right? So that it'll just like cross-compile into both.
I don't know if Swift can do that, but it might be.
I just feel like it's their language. I assume they can just update it to do.
Yeah, so that's what they're going to do, and then before the switch, people are going to get their apps ready.
Maybe.
But it's just going to leave apps behind because there's just going to be stuff that is. I'm saying low level, but it's probably not the right term. It's more like stuff you won't be able to do on the new thing, because I think what they're transitioning to as well, they're gonna go away. They're gonna say screw you to all the geeks, and go away from Unix where you can do a lot of stuff. It's gonna be more iOS like where they control everything.
So this kind of like neatly brings it like to the end of my.
I don't think Homebrew is gonna exist after that.
Yeah, to the end of my kind of Mac fandom is that. So I had like the iPhone 3G. And I had my fucking MacBook Pro, and then was it not? Oh god, was it? It was the one after. It was like they added the App Store to the desktop, and I was like, "Whoa, now, what is this? Like, like you're gonna just like I'm gonna have to jailbreak my laptop to install anything?" And at that point, I was like, well, "Fuck it." Phone's like dying. I'm physically it broke. Like all of the switches broke. Like the home button broke. So I was like, "Fuck it." Phone's dead, may as well like offload all my Mac stuff while it had value, and just like left Mac. And like this kind of feels like this is finally like the realization of that, in that if they're like, well actually like the architecture's the same as iOS, so they finally merge the two OSs, and you're like, well yeah, now they're the same thing. Now you can't sideload apps, and they have their wonderful walled garden that I feared they'd have back when I like started being a freedom person. So yeah, I was optimistic, Fab. Like this morning when I read it, I was like, oh, they'll have like a Mac strategy. All the tech people use Macs, and now I'm like, no, it's gone. You're right. Yeah, creative types switch to Windows because it's better. You can buy more RAM. RAM's cheaper on Windows, and that's more important than the operating system.
Well, the funny thing is, like, this brings us to the other thing. This brings us to Ben Thompson's piece, which I don't think I agree on. But like what he says basically Windows is gone, which would be supported by Microsoft having had a big reorganization the other week, and now there's no Windows division anymore. But his thing is basically he's saying that Windows is not important anymore because computers have lost their login. Because you don't have login anymore. Like Microsoft only has login with like docs on
games.
Maybe with games. Yeah,
enterprise stuff.
He isn't talking about games, but like
we have like, Excel.
His point is, it's basically so the web has taken over a lot of this and the cloud and stuff, and this is why Windows is not important anymore, and Microsoft needs to, is a cloud company now and needs to change direction.
AI first or whatever.
And like, if I don't agree, because I think, and you basically said the same thing now, because if macOS is dead, like Windows is going to be the place to be. Yeah. And I think it would be a horrible mistake for Microsoft, and they've been going in this direction to pivot to completely to a cloud company, because obviously people don't want that. Like people don't like Windows 10 because of all this. Like we're now a data company, and we're basically Facebook, right? And we want all your data, and you get like an operating system for free. People don't want that. Like I just bought a new ThinkPad, right? So it's got Windows on it. I set it all up, and it's like, well, despite the fact that I've forgotten how fucking annoying Cortana is. Like you turn that thing and say, "Hello, I'm Cortana. I'm here to help you to install your..." Shut the fuck up! I can install my own PC. I've been doing this since 1989. You fucking piece of shit. And then, I don't want to a Microsoft login account thing. Like I just do the offline login thing, right? I don't see any value in that whole cloud thing for login. I just I have a password. I will remember it. Let me log in. Like this even has a fingerprint reader, and it's like, here, have a Microsoft login. Then in really small letters. No, I want an offline login. And it's like, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And then you fill it out, right? And you click OK, and it goes like, oh, but a Microsoft account login would be a great idea. Fuck off! This whole operating system is like this all the time. Then Cortana pops up again. I told you to be quiet. I mean, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because they're kind of going down the Azure kind of cloudy
Azure, yeah. Don't call it Azure like all the Azure, fucking Americans.
It's kind of going down that kind of route with them doing stuff, but equally Windows is still where they make the money, and I don't see. They're still at the end of the day when everyone's made their walled garden where you can't hack it. There still has to be somewhere for you to write the applications that everyone else runs. And
yeah,
I kind of sometimes wonder if they've thought about this. This is the kind of moment where I'm standing there and I'm thinking man, how does everyone expect the economy to grow forever when the earth is finite? And I'm standing here with how do people expect applications to be written when you can no longer write applications?
Well, I think they just want to write them. I think they thought about this. They just thought about this wrongly. They just presume that it's okay for you to get them from their store, which obviously is wrong, which the market does not want, because the Windows Store is fucking atrocious. There are no apps in there. Nobody wants them, right?
There are loads of apps, just loads of them are fucking terrible.
No, they're fucking terrible, but there are not loads of apps in there. If compare that to the iOS Store, there's more, I think there's more flashlight apps in the iOS Store than there's apps in the Windows
Store.
There
are a lot of super dodgy clones of apps in the Windows Store.
Yes, that's
a horrible waste.
That's on iOS too, but they only have that. The problem is, I was thinking about. So the game came out that I thought looked really great. Was it Sea of Thieves?
Sea of Thieves.
And then I figured out. I went to I was I'm searching for it on Steam. I said, why isn't this here? Do they have some weird launch thing? I go to their website. It's only in the Windows Store. I'm the fuck? And then. Obviously, I'm not going to buy that because my life's on Steam. But then I got completely proven right in that decision when they're with it's a competitive multiplayer thing, right? So that thing launches and it's going to have problems connecting to the servers. There's always something with these games in the first week, right? It happens to everybody. So basically, they made some fuck up and the clients wouldn't connect to the servers. Now, if you had bought that game from the Windows Store, you couldn't play it anymore. And you could fire it up, but it would say it can't connect to the server. And you had no idea why. You know why that is? Because apparently the fucking Windows Store can't ship updates automatically for games.
Nice.
So basically, you had to go on the web, figure out what the problem is, go to, I think it's Rare, and go to Rare's website and download
down a patch.
Well, the thing is, the patch, because for some reason, I think Xbox related, it was the whole game again. It was 16 gigabytes again, or 26 or something. But come on, Steam has got this sorted out for ages. I have made a personal mission out of just giving Microsoft shit about this whenever I can. We were talking to this, a colleague was talking to the Xbox, she's a PR lady for Microsoft, and they were talking about PUBG, and I was well, I'm gonna play that on PC, and they're obviously they want to promote Xbox, right? She's you should play Sea of Thieves. And I'm is that on Steam? No answer.
Yeah,
You have to give him shit. I mean, what the fuck are they thinking?
I'm kind of like increasingly coming around to the kind of like...
How can they build a store now? Like, it's been ages after the Mac App Store, right? Like, they built this years after. How can they build one afterwards that is so much more shit? I mean, the only thing you need to do is, like, copy what Apple did. You don't even need any new ideas. Just copy what they did.
Yeah, I'm kind of left thinking that, like, we're kind of always comparing one thing to the other thing. So, like, we say that, we say that, oh man, look at the Apple App Store. It's fucking, look how better it is than the Windows one. But then we come to the Mac, we're like, it's fucking garbage. Like, they're gonna make it all. It's just, everything is terrible. Like, none of the things work. Like, I'm not saying,
like,
maybe Steam is the only vaguely competent service out there, because, like,
except for some reason they can't sell software, which they've been trying for years. But
because no one gives a shit. Like, they'll just fuck it. Like, it's for games. Like, maybe it's just bollocks. All of it.
It is. You know what? I'm gonna shout some more because Katie isn't here. She's like on a work trip, so I can shout. Like, it is complete bollocks. But what I don't understand is, like, Microsoft must, like, how dumb are they? They must understand that they can't be Apple. Like, they can't be Google. They obviously failed with Windows Phone. This is what, this Thompson guy talks about as well. I mean, they obviously failed with Windows Phone. They failed with the App Store. They can't be Apple. Why the fuck are they not something different? Why don't they embrace that they have Windows? They have all the developers. They have all the games. Why don't they embrace the games? Why do they have their own store? They don't need their own store. They can just have Valve. Valve can do that. They sell the operating system. Just sell the fucking operating system. Just make it the best operating system. Let anybody run their apps on it.
Take the cloud bollocks out of Windows 10 and you have, like, the best Windows operating system.
Yes, and what are they doing with the cloud bollocks? What are they doing? They're trying to be Google. They're trying to be an ad company. They're trying to sell me shit. They can't sell me shit because the store doesn't work. Like, I have two computers in front of me. They both have Windows 10, right? So on my machine, on my desktop gaming machine that I installed like 3 years ago, whatever, I can't install Netflix. If I, like, the Netflix Windows Store app, if I go to the Windows Store, and it's updated, this Windows completely updated. If I go to the Windows Store and type in Netflix, it says it can't find it. If I search for it on the web, it finds it. I click on it, says this app isn't available. Right? I bought this laptop. First thing I did, went on the Windows Store, typed in Netflix, and installed the app. Works. Why? What? It's like I was listening. Was it Crate and Crowbar where somebody tried to buy Sea of Thieves, and it's like
Pip was talking about that there's to buy Sea of Thieves, you navigate to the game Sea of Thieves on the store, and it tells you can't buy Sea of Thieves the game because you have to buy Sea of Thieves the bundle, which consists of one item, which is the game Sea of Thieves.
They're so fucking ridiculously dumb.
Which is just like fucking. Can they not just accept that the .NET framework is like the good thing that they made because it lets developers make applications, and even that's a bit shit. Like, god damn it! Because like I kind of like. Windows is kind of fine. Once you get it to, like, Windows 10 is kind of fine. Once you get it to a state where, like, right, I've disabled Cortana. I've disabled all the cloud things. I've read a million articles on vaguely how to stop it uploading every button click. Okay, now it's quite good. It patches itself, which is good. I've had multiple arguments with people in the real world about this, basically being like, you don't patch your computer, you gotta patch it, because for the love of God, please fucking patch it. Which is, I can cope with that. If my computer says, okay, Dave, it's time to turn off now, I'd like to, install the patch, I'm okay with that bit. But, like...
Well, I say it's fucking annoying if it does it in the middle of a game stream.
Yes.
Or when you're playing a game. But you can actually turn this off now. Or you can almost turn it off. It is workable. And, like, the the data collection thing, it pops up a thing after installation. You can turn it all off. Well, you can't turn it completely off, but the stuff that you can't turn off is normal. Everybody collects that data. Like, that's okay. They just made it shit in the beginning. But the thing is, you're right. Windows 10 is good. Like, I listen to these gaming podcasts. I listen to several gaming podcasts, and they're all going, no, I'm still on Windows 7 because Windows 10 is so shit. No, Windows 7 is fucking shit. I have a Windows 7 machine at work, which I use to own it. Like, whenever we get, like, a virus.
I'm like, I will take the weird privacy things over just the security nightmare. That is just like...
Well, it's not even a security nightmare. It's an interface nightmare. It looks like shit. Like, I use it only... Like, this is like a... I have a test box, right? And there's Windows 7. There's other Windows versions on there as well. But basically, when I need to own something on bare metal, like, I put the Trojan on there. But it's got, like, software installed that you can wipe it and reset it and whatever. But, like... Whenever I go in there, sometimes I have to install updates and whatever to, it looks shit. That Windows 7 is so horrible. That taskbar, that whole start menu, it's so shit. It's almost as shit as Vista.
Yeah.
My God, it's horrible. How can people use this? And I mean, Windows 10, is kind of shit, but iOS is kind of shit. Linux is kind of shit. Everything's kind of shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of like...
I just wish they would stop making it shit.
Maybe,
on purpose.
Maybe the web could save us, and that, like...
No, the web's shit. The web...
Like, this is the dream, I'm gonna burn the dream down in a moment, fam. But the idea is that, like, maybe the internet could come along and we could have web apps, and web apps would save the day because it wouldn't matter what operating system you had. It wouldn't matter if you're in Windows or Linux or fucking Mac or, like, BSD if you hate yourself. But you'd, like, log into a website and it would be a service and it would run because you've got Chrome installed and it'll be great and wonderful and fantastic. But it's bollocks. They fucked that up as well. Everything is terrible. Every website in the EU is just like, would you like to have cookies? Because we have to tell you the thing. Oh, hey, you've been on this page for 3.5 seconds. Would you like to rate your experience out of 10? Like, it's
would you like 20. To talk to somebody?
Yeah. Would you like to chat to a chatbot? Like, no, I'd very much like to look at the thing on the website. Which, like, 1 billion adverts that all start auto-playing. And it's all bollocks. Computers are absolutely...
You know what's even worse about the web? The web
you can't use it when there's no internet connection.
That, and there's something even worse. The web is like a big computer, right? That's the cloud. It's like distributed over the whole planet, right? Mm-hmm. And it has the NSA everywhere. It's like as if on your motherboard, every little capacitor had like a NSA bug. Everything you put on the web, somebody knows. Facebook, the NSA, Facebook and the NSA, the FBI, some random anonymous dude. It's a fucking nightmare because it's other people's computers.
It's bollocks. Everything.
It is bollocks.
I don't know where we're going with this because honestly, it just like makes me angry thinking about how terrible computers are. Because
it's good, so you don't think about the house.
Yeah,
be angry about something else.
Angry about things, but like, we kind of had the other point of like how the people using computers has changed, and I don't say it's right. I'm not going to say this is a good thing, but it makes sense from a business perspective. In that, if I was playing Dave Plays Capitalism fucking the game.
Just some sad tunes.
That like I kind of worry and feel that like the way not necessarily but the way that like people used computers kind of like to do interesting, cool things, it's sort of on the way out, in that like that's clearly not what Apple care about, clearly not what Windows cares about. Like in that you have a computer and you have
we still have Linux.
Yeah, you have Linux, but like god damn, it's a lot of effort. And that maybe that's the thing. Maybe I have to put the effort in and use Linux, but that people, the average person, like the person who does not listen to this podcast, the person who...
They don't know what a podcast is.
They don't know what a podcast is. They bought a Kodi box so they could watch pirated streams of like movies and sports, and they own an iPhone. Their entire experience of computing is like the wonderful walled garden, and that every kind of sort of change every change the company that they have the device from, like they go, oh, that's a bit weird, and then just sort of like roll over and accept it. And I kind of feel like that's kind of where it is, and it's where it's going, and I don't know how you change it, because like other than in a kind of like if you're a techie person or you use a computer in an enterprise sense, yeah, you're using computers as they have traditionally been used, but everything else, it's just like a medium for you to read a Facebook feed or an Instagram feed or a Twitter feed, or you like refresh the Daily Mail. That's kind of like, I don't know, that's where I feel like the usage of computer is changing, that like you used to kind of like have, I'm turning into a cynical old man, Fab, please just kill me now.
You are completely right.
What if 8-bit computers were better? What if the Amiga was the height of computing?
The Amiga was shit.
What if whatever old thing where you typed in BASIC, what if the BBC Micro was like the height of computing? And I'm just like, man, it's all fucked, it's all terrible. Nothing. Fab, I'm installing the Herd. I'm done with this. I'm not gonna fix Spectre and Meltdown because the microcode is proprietary.
Installing the Herd basically means giving up on computers.
Pretty much, yeah. And maybe that's the right thing.
Hey, by the way, I got on this new ThinkPad. I did get a BIOS and a microcode update.
Nice. That's good.
And I got Intel Management Engine update as well.
Oh, lucky you! Intel software, how reliable.
Lenovo. But I think you're right. The problem we have is that you're completely right. The whole Apple ARM thing is going to work for these normal people. Normies. But we're fucked. Because we're the gamers, and we're the programmers, and we're the audio editors, and that we need a truck. We need that thing that Steve Jobs belittled as a truck. But trucks are fucking important, because you can't get your shit if everybody's driving a fucking Tesla. Somebody has a Tesla now here somebody here in the flats has a Tesla. It's in the parking garage. Fucking idiots. Anyway, we need that, and somebody's going to build that, and it probably is going to come down to like the next is going to be like RMS. No, it's not going to be canonical. They're going to go the other way. No, we need like an RMS, like a hairy dude.
Maybe
build a new computer.
What if it's...
And don't tell me it's a fucking Raspberry Pi. The fucking Raspberry Pi is a piece of shit board that... Was it Broadcom? Broadcom, right? They didn't want anymore, so they just made a PR thing, and now they're selling. It's like, they don't even now they don't use them in fucking schools. Like, where's the school angle?
It's like super small. Like,
fuck.
The odd, it's like...
Who even buys Raspberry Pis anymore? What the fuck? What?
People who are like, man, this would be a cool thing for a project, and then you chuck it in a drawer.
Yeah, it's in a drawer. Years. I've got 2 in a drawer. This is the original Raspberry Pis. They're going to be worth something at some. They're basically mint condition.
I have moved house 3 or 4 times since buying a Raspberry Pi, and every time it just gets put in a box, moved to a different box, and then eventually I move house.
I used to run the soundboard for LO on a Raspberry Pi. What the fuck was I thinking?
Why wouldn't you just like have an application on a PC?
I don't know. I've got a fucking ThinkPad here. Why don't I use that? I mean, what the fuck?
It's not bollocks.
I was really dumb back in the day. I got given
as a housewarming present a book, and it's called Off: Your Digital Detox.
Who gave you that? Is that like a veiled?
My dad.
Ah, right. This is a veiled.
So
comment.
Things to do on your digital detox would be go for a wander outside, plant something, look up. Up is in all capitals.
What? Look up?
Just look up. Look at the sky.
It's grey. I'm in Hamburg. What?
Because the next one is to go cloud spotting. Maybe
There are no clouds. It's just grey cloud cover all day.
You've not been sitting in a green place enough. You should sit in a green place. And then you should cleanse. I don't know what that means, but it's on page 66. You should do something seasonal.
We should have readings from this book every episode.
And then you should sleep under the stars, Fab. Does that literally mean sleep outside?
It's fucking cold. It's like 10 degrees.
I don't want to be at page 70. It doesn't have page numbers, Fab.
There are no stars anyway here. It's always grey. It's Hamburg. If I'm lucky, I see like the landing lights of a plane that's coming down on runway.
No, it's genuinely advocating you sleeping outside. Staring up at the stars.
This is England. You're gonna get knifed.
Open your mind to the wonders of the natural world and our place in it. It can make us feel insignificant and small, but also shifts our awareness from obsessing over smaller pieces of our lives to seeing how much more there is to the world and its potential. Jesus Christ!
Is the author's next book How I Was Stabbed in Brum?
Yeah, basically. It's like, first, go somewhere where there are no people within 100 miles. The next page has a photo of the Northern Lights and a Stephen Hawking quote in like all caps, basically like a BuzzFeed article. Look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious.
I wonder what NDT would have to say to that.
He would say that actually the concept of down doesn't exist.
Yes.
Figment of your imagination. That in space there is no up nor down. There you go. I'm getting really good at deconstructing these.
I might as well just stare off in the distance because that's up for some.
That's up if you're lying down.
Value of
floor.
up.
But how do you even lie down if there's no up? Who knows? Yeah, computers, it's bollocks. I had like a point about how computing has changed, but I think I summed it up with like, we're fucked. Like, all the interesting things are gonna maybe slowly go away.
I'll tell you something. As long as I have PUBG, I don't need that. I don't need that outdoors shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I don't know because we've got a garden now, which is nice. There's a bit of grass that is ours, and we can sit in when it's sunny. And I did that yesterday while waiting for a locksmith to turn up. It was really quite nice because I was like not on my phone, not like at a computer. It was really just I had a beer, and life was just quite nice.
Just one question: are you thinking about growing a beard?
No, I mean I've done this, and it's not a good look. It's a neck beard, and someone asked me if I'd been radicalized. So it won't
yes, I'm a communist.
Yes.
Well, actually, if you're getting old, maybe it'll grow more. Maybe you're getting to that stage now.
I'm getting the grey hairs from like work stress. So that's
Tell me about. Are you stacking coins again?
I'm fiddling with coins. I've collected loads of 2p coins, which I'm going to stick to Warhammer.
Scrooge McDuck. Oh yeah, I've done this. I actually have 2p coins under some of my bases.
Exactly, they fit Primaris Marines perfectly. But no, like all right. I want to know like this ThinkPad, right? It's good because I am still on the train of I've solved the Pixel C. It's gone. Rip that.
Did you sell it?
Yeah, I sold it for cash money. And I was kind of like, I'm still pondering like the laptop-y, Linux-y vague idea I had. But like.
So I looked at it like I'm oh god, I just don't want to put Linux on it because of the fucking secure boot thing.
Yes, that's one of my fears.
I'm not gonna. This works so good right now.
Don't you have to like enable legacy?
Yeah, and this boots like in a millisecond. It's got like it's just an SSD. It's got a small SSD. It's just 256
It's going to be like a PCIe, like not over SATA. Or
no. I think it's like it's
soldered
like
into
wired
the
in.
Yeah.
It's a nice machine. It's like I had an X1, the original one, which is I think it was 6 years old by now. This is a bit bigger. That was like 13 inches. This is 15.
Yeah.
But since the screen bevel isn't as big, it's actually not that much bigger.
Yeah, because like I'm looking at laptops and like just slowly losing my mind because either I end up with
I can just buy a ThinkPad. There's no other.
Yeah, either I end up with, like, I'm not so bothered about an Ethernet port as you. I can see why you want one, but it's not a thing I tend to
For me,
find
that's more, it's more a statement of honor, even if I don't use it that much anymore. But it's like...
But, like, I end up looking at things, and either it's like, this is, like, a reasonably priced thing, and it is alright, but it's ugly as hell. Like, it's got like a 2013 like massive bezel around the screen.
I like that look.
I
like the ThinkPad look T-Series. I like. I mean,
then you kind of compare it to like, oh well, here's a nice like here's like 500 like here's like £1,500 worth of shiny. It looks way better, but then I'm like, that is a shitload of money to drop on like a kind of vaguely pointless thing.
Well, this is 1,300 euros full of not shiny.
That's like £7,000.
I just stuck a lot of stickers on the backside anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm kind of just like torn. Like, do I need one?
Well, I need one because I'm on a train a lot and I need to write. So this is basically my travel typewriter.
Okay.
And it also runs into the breach, which is a bonus. I mean, I got the one with the Intel graphics. I don't need it for gaming. I mean, the battery life on this, I haven't tried it because I haven't had long enough, but it's like 6 hours. That's another reason not to put Linux on it.
That is a fair point.
Like even like the most hardcore Linux guy I know, it's the Linux guy from CT, Torsten. And like even he says, if you want battery life, you better put Windows on it.
Oh Christ! Okay, yeah. I don't know. I'm just like so completely torn about what I want from a thing in which I don't run Windows on it to do stuff. But then, like,
why not just run Windows on it?
Oh, because it's a like I kind of want to like do development things that aren't Windowsy.
Okay.
And the way you do that is by using Linux, essentially, because as I have been discovering, so like, okay, I've been trying the whole .NET thing on Linux, in that they've made .NET Core, and it works pretty well on Linux, except that like there is shit all documentation and tooling about it. So I'm like, I want to try all these kind of like cool things, and I'm like, shit. All the documentation assumes you use Linux or a Mac. So I'm like, open up a virtual machine, and then I'm like, oh, well, I'm sat on my desktop PC, and I'm kind of like, just being really quite antisocial, and like when we move to like the house properly, I'm gonna be even more antisocial, because I'll be in like the kind of office room we have. I'm like, well, kind of maybe a laptop would be better, so I can kind of like be in a kind of more communal space.
Yes, you can do that. That is also why I have a laptop. That's a good use choice. But my hands have been in my face has been in my hands while you were talking, because I thought, you were saying I want to do developer stuff, and that makes sense. I mean, Linux is the better operating system for developers, I think. I always thought that, and I still think that. But then you said .NET. Why did you .NET do it on Windows? Why would you want it on Linux?
Well,
Why?
This is part of that Microsoft like not Windows focus, in that they.
Yeah, but why? I mean, if you're doing .NET, you might as well do it on Windows. Well, it's bad enough that you do .NET anyway.
So the kind of idea is that like Azure. Runs basically a lot of Linux. A lot of the instances run Linux, and they want you to be able to write code in a Microsofty way, in theory in a cross-platform way, in that you can write the code once and then just deploy anywhere. And to do that, basically with the .NET framework, is kind of impossible.
I have a great idea.
Write in Python.
No. Well, you obviously don't want to do that. Otherwise, I would say install Linux. Get a ThinkPad, right?
Yeah.
Get an HP ProLiant home server.
Uh-huh.
Put that in the studio.
Yeah.
Put your complete development environment for Linux on that. Mm-hmm. And then on the laptop, just use Windows. And whenever you want to do Linux, just putty. Just open the terminal. Just SSH into the server and do all your stuff on the server.
Maybe. I don't. Yeah, it's just like a. I don't know. I look at things around and I'm like, I should buy this, and then I'm gonna be like, no, that is a ridiculous thing, Dave. You're just gonna look at Instagram. You're gonna log into Instagram, and you're gonna like photos of cats.
Well, but basically,
that's what I do.
I bought this ThinkPad, to be honest, to surf the web, right?
I'm kind of like pleased you're open with that.
And have Discord and Atom open. Like I write all my stuff in Atom.
Oh, fab! No, you hurt me. You hurt me so.
It's good. It's good.
It's garbage. She's Sublime. Come back to Sublime.
Every article I've written last year has been written in Atom.
Stop it, Fab. No, you should. No, take it back.
We've completely crossed over. You're like in the Linux stuff, and I'm on Windows using
Sublime
Atom.
Text is the only text editor. Oh my god, I bought Sublime Text 2 in a sale.
Me too. I love it. It's great, but it's like Atom's gone there and it surpassed it. It does like auto updates. You can like install packages. It's like fucking Node.
You've been able to install packages in Sublime for like 7 years.
Yeah, but not as easily.
You install the package manager. You install the package that
Yeah,
installs
I know.
the package manager, and then you've got the
yeah.
package manager. It's Sublime. It's better. I tried to upload. Okay, I'm super burnt because I tried Atom when it was in beta, and I tried to open a gigabyte text file and it fell over. And I can kind of see why. I can see why lots of applications would fall over if you tried to open a gigabyte of text.
I don't know if it can do that now.
But Sublime did, and it was fine. So I'm eternally loyal to the closed source.
You're okay. The closest, like, I'm not a programmer. I use it to write articles. So that's what I do. I've got a browser open. I have Chrome. No, I didn't install Firefox.
Good lad.
I have a Firefox sticker that I haven't put on my laptop.
Nice.
Because it's driving me fucking up the wall. I think I'm just going to Chrome.
When are you going to get the Baden-Württemberg sticker?
I'm not in Baden-Württemberg. What I am going to do is I'm going to make a sticker for the Forstam Pochinki.
Oh, yes, please.
I've actually made...
Although we can't talk about that because we explain it in the next episode.
No! Okay. Maybe I shouldn't talk about the fact that I made t-shirts and I've ordered one.
I've not ordered one yet because basically I'm not sure.
Did I talk about it? Do I talk in the next show that I want to buy a laptop?
Oh, I hope not.
See, this is the problem. Once I start drinking wine, the timeline goes out the window.
Yeah, because like I'm thinking in episode 61, I'm going to talk about Into the Breach because in episode 60, I say I'm going to play it a lot more, and yeah, I now have opinions about it that I couldn't necessarily express previously.
And what I should talk about in 61 as well is the story I did about the smartwatches.
Oh yes, because that is the big super secret thing.
Well, not anymore.
You have not mentioned on the podcast, but you had mentioned in the Discord that there was a secret thing that was taking up lots of your time.
Yeah, I can explain why it was secret, maybe. And we need to talk about Tomb Raider as well, although it's hard.
I've still not seen the film.
Well, maybe we're just gonna. Maybe I'm just gonna say it's awesome.
Maybe you can just tell me why it's good and why I should see it rather than Rampage, which has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Because Alicia Vikander is great. She's a great actress.
No one is as good as The Rock. He's the best actor in all of Hollywood.
I tend to agree, but Alicia Vikander is the best actress. Maybe, I don't know. Fair. The Rock's great. On on Easter, we watched The Tooth Fairy.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know that Seth MacFarlane was in that. He was in that.
Was he really? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Maybe I kind of like. I'm probably watching.
Have you seen it?
I really knew. Yeah.
It's great.
I think I probably watched that before I really knew who Seth MacFarlane was.
I love that he's a hockey player. It's called The Tooth Fairy. So good. That's a good movie. Oh, another movie. While we're at movies, people, if you have Netflix, watch Special Correspondence.
What is this about?
This is a remake of a French movie, Correspondance Spécial, something like that. With
I don't think French sounds that angry, but sure.
With Ricky Gervais and Eric Bana. And even if you don't like Ricky Gervais, which I could understand, I love him, but like Katie doesn't like his humor very much, but she loved this movie as well, probably because of sexy Eric Bana. It's a great movie. It's about just quickly. So that is Eric Bana's like a radio moderator. He's like in New York. He's like a hometown star, like a local hero kind of guy. And Ricky Gervais is this like audio technician. And I love Banner goes like somebody asked him, like, what's the problem? Why are you so frustrated? And he's like, I'm a big fish in a shitty little pond. Very angry big fish. I felt like him at that point. I know what he's talking about. So anyway, he's at a radio station and they get there's a war brewing in Ecuador, and he's like, okay, his editor's like, I'm gonna send you over. And they drive to the airport and Ricky Gervais throws away the money, the passports, and the plane tickets. And so they can't go to Ecuador. And then they basically get the idea to camp in the across from the radio station is like a restaurant where there was like a Mexican restaurant, and they just stay upstairs there. And the audio guy goes like, oh, "It's great because it's basically my life." Like Eric Banner is like a frustrated journalist, and Ricky Gervais is like an audio technician who just then like does some podcast magic and creates like an Ecuador soundscape, and they're just pretending to be in Ecuador for like months. It's great. It's a really good movie. Can recommend it. It is hilarious. Yeah. What the other movie we watched was like Game Over Man. That wasn't as good. It's like a Netflix thing.
Oh, Netflix original.
They cut people's penises off and then they get thrown around.
Why?
Yeah, it's just that tells you anything you need to know about that movie.
Oh Christ.
Where were we?
I don't know. Like I feel like
can't talk about any other things. We're gonna break the timeline.
I feel we've already broke. I'm pretty sure I broke the timeline.
Timeline's fucked. Just like computing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, yeah. It's all. Oh.
It makes you angry again.
I'm just angry again. It's all bollocks. Yeah.
Just focus that hatred towards the next wall you have to take down, or whatever you need to do next.
The next hole I have to drill in the wall. The third hole I drilled in this house, I hit a fucking piece of reinforced steel concrete, and it didn't go well.
Do you have a really good drilling machine thing?
I do have a good drill. I got set the first thing I got given when I'd properly finished uni and moved out for real from my dad was a ridiculous amount of tools.
That's good.
I've got masonry bits for correctly drilling into concrete. It's just
because I know when you hit a T-beam, it's
I'm like, no, you bastard.
My dad is not a DIY guy. He's turning into one because he bought a house, which is teaching me lots of things. But he gave me his old drilling. Would you call that a drilling machine?
I just call it a power drill.
A Bohrmaschine, yeah, power drill. So I gave me his power drill, which was an old Black & Decker, really old. And it always worked. In Bonn, where we were, I drilled holes with it. And then we get here, and I tried to drill a hole in the fucking roof, right? In the ceiling. And it's this is fucking, in Germany, sometimes we call this concrete Führerbunker-Qualität. Führerbunker quality.
I can see where that's from.
It's fucking aircraft,
bomb
World War II bunker kind of stuff. But I couldn't literally I couldn't it took me 3 hours and I broke off a drill bit in the process. I was and then the second one, when I was finished, it was basically just smooth metal. And I'm I can't do this. And so Katie's oh, I got a colleague, they have a really good a Makita power tool thing. So we so they lend it to us, and I take it home, and I'm how the fuck is this gonna work? It's got it's battery powered, right? Doesn't even have a power cord. I'm this is never gonna drill in that ceiling. It's never gonna work. And I was I have to put 5 more light things up, right? And I'm no chance. I take that thing, right? And it took me 3 hours with the other one, it just went and I'm in the wall. I'm what the fuck is this? A laser? What the hell? Is this depleted uranium drill bits? What the fuck? That thing, so fucking amazing. I want one now.
Yeah, because that's the Makita power drill is what I have, and there are there are more switches on that than I feel are necessary for something that drills holes.
Do you have like a battery powered one as well?
I have a battery powered one.
That's probably the same one. That's a fucking good drill.
Yeah, because there's like a thing at the top, which is there's a switch that's labelled 1 and 2. No explanation of what 1 and 2 means. Just 2 is more powerful than 1. I don't know why you'd ever go to 1. There's like a torque setting for like how much, like if you're drilling in a screw, is that even screwing in a screw? You screw in a screw. If you're screwing in a screw, it'll like the point at which like it like stops when it's drilled enough. But also there's like a mode for like for screwing things in. There's a mode for like screw hammering in. Which I discovered is like, because honestly, like I've lived my entire life assuming you hammer in nails and you screw in screws.
No, the hammer thing is if you want to go into concrete.
You screw hammer in screws because that is apparently a thing that happens. And then there's also like a fucking like a drill mode, which is like somehow different than a screw mode. It just drill. I machine things at work, and I start like, what is the difference between like spinning a thing to screw a thing in or spinning a thing to cut a wall? I don't know. And then there's like the one thing I do understand, which is like the direction of spin. There's one switch on this fucking thing that I understand what it does, and it's just like, okay, I can put a thing in the wall, I can take a thing out of the wall. I understand now. But I've been given a book of DIY, basically not DIY for.
Does it says? Look up.
Look up. Are you outside? Okay, you're now safe to do DIY. But yeah, it's just like these things are baffling. I'm like, I feel like I'm a technically competent person.
You know what?
I was described as technically good in a performance review, so like.
So you're technically good.
I feel like I should know these things, but something like, well, this is an amazing new thing.
This is the new segment on Geek News Radio. This is like DIY. With Fab and Dave, home improvement. You know what blew my mind? I knew how power like drills work, and it's like this. You know how to put the drill bit in? You have this thing. You put like a little screw thing in, and
it's like a chuck that as you spin it, like as it spins, it like closes the prongs.
Right,
yeah.
And then I got that Makita thing, and it has this like what the fuck SDS or whatever it's called, and it's just like. You put it in and you turn it, and it's like it holds so much better than the other system. The other system, if you like drill in one of these things here in one of the ceilings, right, it'll just like spin the whole like the drill bit will get stuck and just spin in the thing that's supposed to hold it. And that other SDS system or whatever it's called is just fucking amazing.
It's like a hexagonal. It's like a hexagonal thing that you put in.
Yeah, it's got like a little bolt on the side. It looks like a bolt of a bolt action rifle. It goes like around.
Yes. I don't understand why that's different. Like, I've never encountered a problem that's needed that. But fuck it.
That is good.
Again,
that's a good
magic,
thing.
Absolute magic.
Another tip. Another thing I bought, even though I don't own a house, but it's really great, especially if you have to build lots of IKEA furniture. There is a little powered screwdriver from Bosch.
Right.
It's tiny. It looks like a like the very small phaser they had in Next Generation.
Right. Yeah.
It's tiny. It's amazing. It's battery powered. It's got light on it. It's got torque like you wouldn't believe. I have to look this up. Bosch. It's so good. It's like €100 or whatever, and it's worth every penny because you can use it almost everywhere when you build like furniture or whatever. You can use it. It's a Bosch IXO. It's called IXO. It's like a tiny little thing, and you can use it like all the other powered screwdrivers. They're too big if you're like building furniture and you need to go around the corner or whatever. This thing you can use almost everywhere, and it's fucking amazing.
The video of it has a guy assembling some like massive speaker.
It is really good. It's also like it's you know how lots of powered screwdrivers are just too powerful, and you'll just ruin whatever you're screwing in. And this has like really fine motion control. It comes like in this little case. It's fucking amazing. It's really good. It's one of the best things I ever
You
bought.
can apparently buy other attachments for it, like some sort of like hedge trimming device.
Oh, you can,
Jesus
you
Christ.
can buy it's Bosch. You can get anything, but it's like the battery is really good. I've built like all the IKEA furniture we bought for this flat, and like lots of other stuff, and I only had to recharge it once, and it charges like the charge plug is a USB. It's like a micro USB thing. It's so good.
The only way it could be better is if it charged with USB-C.
Well, yeah, it's, they're power tool maker. They're a few years behind, but it's coming, I think. Bosch IXO. It's amazing. It's good. We're not sponsored by them. It's just fucking amazing.
Brought to you by Bytemark Hosting and Bosch.
Yeah, Bosch the detective. Home improvement. This could be an April Fool's thing. Home improvement
We
radio.
could just go back in time and be like, this is Home Improvement News Radio.
I don't think so, Tim.
Is that it? I think that's it.
I think that's it. I mean, this is
fucking
long.
shouted at computers for an hour and a half or whatever.
I think that's good. It's all going to shit, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Oh Christ! No, I need to stop thinking about like how shit technology is. I'm gonna go away and I'm gonna read my book and I'll do a jigsaw fab because it says that I should do a jigsaw.
That's okay. Just don't sleep outside, please.
Yeah, no, that sounds bonkers.
That's not healthy.
That's how you get hypothermia, like
Yeah, and stabbed
and stabbed and like
and robbed.
and like, if there are slugs, right? Slugs come out of the ground at night. And they
What? This is not like the planet on the Expanse, like the killer
is.
slugs.
It is.
I'm blind.
They will bloody come out of the earth, and they will. Yeah, that is a thing.
Do you have a problem with slugs?
No, but like, so we've been to some campsites where, like, in
right.
the daytime it looks completely normal, but then at nighttime, like, slugs emerge,
the planet. Of
and
the
like
slugs.
they just sort of like end up just not necessarily like coming towards you en masse, but they're kind of like the average motion of them.
They're just sidling.
They're just sort of like appearing, and we're like, the fuck is happening right now? And like, we've been to the campsite like again since, and it's like, oh god, the slugs are happening again. It's nighttime.
We have this friend, and Katie gave her some plants. Katie raises plants as a hobby. And they have like fucking slug problem, and they ate everything. It's like they don't know where to put it because slugs get everywhere. Apparently, it's like they can fly. They just go up a wall.
Yeah, the only thing that really stops them is like copper.
Salt.
Salt kills them. Yeah, that's true. But like, they won't cross copper.
Why?
It's like a weird conductivity thing. They just avoid it. It's like cats don't walk on tinfoil. Like if you get
copper is weird if you lick it.
Yeah, I think it's like a very similar kind of like they get a bit of a shock or something. There's some sort of like electrical thing that happens.
Well, and they're on there for a long time, right? So
yeah, so like people put like copper bands around plant pots that they don't want.
I was thinking I should have tell Svenja, but on the other hand, this is Hamburg. If you put copper outside, somebody's going to steal it.
Steal it, yeah.
Copper is worth a lot of money.
It is.
People literally when they have a building site here, right? And they put all like the heating stuff in.
Yeah.
It's like on the weekend people go there with like power hammers and just drill out the fucking copper pipes again, and then sell the copper. Apparently, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe we gotta live with the slugs. The slugs are coming. That's gonna be the title of this episode.
Oh, sweet.
The slugs are coming! Right. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
With episode 60, where we can actually tell you what's happening there. Wait, I need to go to the show notes.
I don't know that.
Because I have show notes a running order.
We talked about many things.
Char was on Into the Breach. We will talk.
We talk about Twilight Imperium 4. We talk about many good TV shows.
Oh, yes.
And Taboo. There's a song "I Am the Abyss," which Fab might be splicing into it.
I need to do this. Which I haven't. I have heard now, but I haven't It's weird.
But you have.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. I swear, like, in the next one I talk about selling the Pixel C. Fuck.
Yes! Oh, fuck.
We broke the timeline. Sorry, everyone. Oh, well.
Oh, this is why I shouldn't delete shows. I'm gonna try. This is seriously, it hasn't something like that hasn't happened to me in 7 years or so. It's like when we lost the last LO. Like,
yeah, it's this thing. It's a thing back when we did
It
other
hurts.
podcasts, and I would be recording on my end. It's a thing like I always used to panic about. Been like, I gotta export this and put it in Dropbox right now because I will delete it and Fab will murder me. So yeah, it's a kind of like a constant fear.
no, I wouldn't. Like, I know that the pain. It hurts when you lose something. It really hurts because you're like, I was feeling terrible for like half a day because I was like, oh, was so good. I'm such an idiot. No, I have to make Dave record another show. The Discord was really when we were like, we're gonna record another show. What, another one? Yeah, but I lost one. Remember, guys?
We're net down one.
Well, now we're net safe. As long as I don't delete episode 60. If I now delete episode 60, we just talk about what's going to happen. Oh my god.
You should definitely delete episode 60.
I swear I will shoot myself.
I can come back with some better opinions on God, the game. The game I've played. The breach. Into the breach.
The breach.
Now I want you to be like, derp. But that's spoilers. I won't spoil it anymore.
Okay, then let's wrap this up. I guess you can send us feedback, which we're going to then talk about in episode 61, probably.
Yep. You can do that through the usual means. You can email us if you want us to read a long thing. But if you want a short, concise, excellently well-crafted 280 characters thing, you can tweet it to @GeekNewsRadio, or you can tweet us individually. I am @Megaslippers, and Fab is...
I'm at Fabsh. Foxtrot
You should join
Alpha
the
Bravo Sierra Hotel. Sorry.
You should join the Discord, because I forgot that Fab always does it phonetically. Quite a few additional bonus people have been, chiming in, and it's been really quite good. The Discord's great. I have been super quiet on it because of the purchasing of a house.
You're just hiding from the Forstamt. We know what you're doing. You're shirking your Forst duty.
I'm hiding from trees because they're very scary. We also have YouTube where you can watch this without downloading it, but you are downloading it because you're still downloading the file, watching it in your browser, but you're not downloading it.
It's the cloud.
Yeah, someone else's MP3.
On somebody else's computers. Yes! Goodbye.
Genuinely, please hack the planet.